Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's special committee of the whole for Tuesday, November 19th. It is 6:30 p.m. And if I could have a roll call, please, Susan.
Finkler. Here. Hammer.
Here.
Lawson.
Here.
Motive is excused. Reed.
Here.
Relke. Here. Rostad.
Here.
Acknowledge this meeting was posted and noticed according to law.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is to approve the agenda, so I would take a motion for same.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment? Okay. Then the first item of new business is consideration and discussion of recent requests for services, electrical, internment, lawn service, HVAC, plumbing, tree services, and cleaning. Matt?
So requests for services were sent out. I'm going to highlight the summary sheet that summarizes those prices. A lot of these are to have a standby contractor that if we need electrical work, we have a known rate, but there isn't guaranteed work. And so I think that's part of what limits interest in responding. The two that I want to point out that do have guaranteed work is Hillside Turf for the Lakeside Lawn Care. The cemetery for Lakeside Lawn Care is the company. They were the low submittal. There's both 2025 pricing as well as 2026 pricing included. The rate you see there are the per time, what we are charged for each service. Similarly, for the pavilion cleaning, the low-cost provider was Sassy Heifer, who's also the current provider for that service. $175 weekly rate, that's to clean the restrooms, and an anticipated $9,100 total. There are some allowances in that contract that if there's additional hourly work, there's a rate also tied to that. But we have budgeted there for additional expense as well. We did have a additional provider for electric that would not be awarded. They were higher than the low-cost provider. Same with the pavilion cleaning, where we had a total of 3 requests received. So the summary sheet here, the first sheet, is who we would be awarding these to. On the council agenda for later, I did break out, since there are known costs, I broke out the cemetery turf management as well as the pavilion cleaning into separate approvals. I assume the rest of these could be approved as one motion.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Alder Rostad?
So when we sent it out, I know the agenda says for 25, 26. There's only 2 that supplied numbers for 25 and 26. So what's the benefit, or is there a benefit to not approve electrical, Hillside, the other one?
I would just approve the other ones for 2025, and we'll resolicit for 2026.
Okay.
Alder
City
Larson?
staff have any concerns about the prices we got back or the vendors?
I think there's always concern about the lack of potential local providers for some of these services. But I also think that is a direct tie to that there is no known work, which is it's a challenge, but at the same time, the idea here is for there to be a known company to call when we have work at a known price. So in terms of the vendors and their ability to do the work, I don't think that I've not been, no one's shared any concern with me. K&B has been a long time provider for forestry related services for public works. We have a good working relationship with them. I think I see tasks here on occasion when we have HVAC concerns. So I know they're responsive. I know Wright Plumbing was recently in doing some work for the wastewater utility. So these are companies that we are doing work with currently as well.
Alder Rostad?
This, so if when we award them, does this guarantee like TAS all HVAC? Like if there's a replacement, or do they still have to do the 3 quotes?
If there's a replacement, we still, I believe, this is just for if we've got an issue in the.
Like service call?
If we're replacing, we still would go through 3 quotes, because if you're replacing a unit, it's going to exceed the cost, the limit of where we have to get quotes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was just asking, wanted clarification. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments? Is everybody comfortable moving this one forward? Okay, thank you. Next item is discussion regarding change order number 2 with Forest Landscaping and Construction, Inc. related to 2024 street and utility construction. Matt?
I can start this. This is the second change order. It's a decrease from change order number 1. This is reconciling where we currently stand with the project wrapped up, and I'll defer any other questions to Jason Lethos here, could answer in more specifics than I can.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. So I often like to talk when I'm bringing you great news, so there's reducing project costs. So I contribute that to a good contractor, great staff at the city helping out. Just a pretty well-run project throughout, in my opinion. We were able to do a little bit more than we had originally planned, is why we had change order 1 in there of this project. But there was obviously some quantities at the end that were under what we had originally planned or estimated during the design. That often happens. We like to true these up, so when we do audits, all the numbers match. So that's the first reason. The second reason is this project did have an August completion date, and we know the contractor started a little later this year just due to schedule and timing. It was a very wet spring. They were behind on work. So we acknowledge that the contract officially had a date that we wanted to reconcile here at the end too, to kind of bring that up to speed, just to make sure that the contract aligned with the completion date. So we are looking to change order this reduction of $30,617.96 with the council tonight for approval, and then if that's the case, then we'll probably move forward with closing out this contract. It does have a 1-year warranty, so again, we know we're still working on some restoration things, but for the most part, we've been very happy with it, and I think the contractor did a nice job. So any questions on the change order? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Next item is discussion regarding task order with Rupert Milkie for 2025 street reconstruction for Brookside Drive. Jason?
Well, this is next year's project, so we've been kind of talking about this in the capital budget. So we've obviously had this in the plans. It is a much smaller project. It is down on Brookside Drive, starts on Avalon and goes to the end of the cul-de-sac. The main purpose for this is not only to rebuild the road, but it's also to upsize the water main through here. Ultimately, the plan, long-range plan in the water utility has always been to connect this water main from this location out to Heritage, is where Enerpac is. That will obviously help with water supply, fire service to that area as it develops. So this is kind of the first phase of that. So we're kind of looking to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. This project was on the capital plan as we came through and we talked about it. So the contract before you here is for design services through bidding, so we usually just contract through that point. So we'll get plans and specs prepared, have public informational meeting, we'll do special assessments, kind of the standard procedure stuff, bid this out and bring prices back to you. It's a little late in the year. We usually start a little earlier than this, but it's a smaller project, so we'd hope to get this bid out sometime in January, probably be back in February with results. Hopefully they're favorable so we can move forward with a project in 2025. Again, standard items in here with the meetings and special assessments, design, bidding, and permitting. So any questions on the engineering?
Alder Lawson?
The little, I don't know, tail piece that goes between the properties there and up the creek, what's being done down there?
Okay, so that is an easement area between the properties. Right now, there is a interceptor sewer, sanitary sewer that runs through there that ultimately runs out to serve Enerpac. So that has been in place. There's an easement on the plat that allows us to have that utility there. We replaced that sewer from where we're stopping towards Enerpac in 2013. That was brand new, but this piece under the street and then this little tail is old. It was put in the, I think, late 60s, early 70s, from what I can tell, timeline. And so we're going to replace that just because it's one of our interceptor sewers to make sure it's watertight and we eliminate our infiltration. And that's also the same location that the water main loops from this street down to the cul-de-sac to the south and crosses the creek there. We want to upsize that water main all the way out in this tail too because, again, that's our future extension. So there will be a future phase where we extend that out to Interpack and loop it back in with the water main that runs down 73. So again, that's kind of the tail piece, but we do have easements there. And you can kind of see from the little gap, the Second Ward Creek itself sits in an outlot. When this was platted back in the day, that was an outlot that was dedicated to the public. So we just need to sneak back there, and we'll have some disruptions to those properties, but we'll certainly make sure that we notify them in advance and we plan that out to make sure that we can get those utilities replaced and, upsized for what we need.
I also saw somewhere where I thought I saw where we were replacing aprons with asphalt.
No, concrete. That will be concrete. It should not be asphalt aprons, but if it is, it's a typo, I can promise you.
Okay.
We always do concrete. So we're replacing, if they are asphalt, we replace them with concrete. If they're concrete, we put back concrete.
That's why I was surprised when I saw it.
Yep,
Okay.
that's code, so.
Any other questions? Is everybody comfortable moving this one forward? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is discussion and review of bids for replacement of pedestrian school crossings. Matt?
We have 9 of these existing school crossings in the city. There are 4 of them that are currently not functioning correctly. These are old and dated and out of current technology. This is a proposed 2025. It's included in our capital planning. Because they're in failure, we wanted to move forward with this. We have a low quote from Decker to supply the materials and a low quote from Red Arrow Electric to do the installation. We had budgeted 25,000. The work is 21,834. There is a diagram of what these signs look like or will look like in the packet as well.
Any questions? Alder Rosted?
Just going back to the capital project list, it was a typo, it says 6 on here when we approved it for 25, but we're gonna buy 9. I mean,
Yeah.
we're under budget, which is fine.
Yeah, that would be a typo on the
Okay.
on the CIP sheet.
That's all I had.
Alder Reed?
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to double check and make sure we're also putting one of the crossings at the crosswalk right nearby on James
So we're
that
working.
began the discussion.
You're talking about right here.
Right
for the
there.
library. So we are working with Red Arrow to supply us a quote to do the install of those materials and do that at the same time when they're here. We purchased that crossing and we wanted to ensure that we were working with a contractor, a licensed contractor, rather than asking our staff to do electrical work that's a little outside of their scope. So the plan is to install the library crossing at the same time that these school pedestrian lights are updated and replaced.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure and verify. Thank you.
Alder Lawson?
So these are pedestrian crosswalks that happen to be in school zones, right? And it's the signs that flash. Okay, and I didn't see where we opted for the solar type. Is that accurate?
These are not the solar type because of cost and keeping in budget. These are powered.
Okay, and then are they connected? They're connected via like Wi-Fi or mesh or something like that, so you can control them from one location?
Yes, there is a controller that they can be adjusted, so when school days, when exit times,
Times
school
change.
change, we don't have to go to each sign to manually adjust them.
Awesome, thank you.
Question.
Alder Rosted?
Was there, were you gonna put one on Tower Drive by chance, by the water tower in that crossing? That's a bad intersection for people, pedestrians.
that hasn't been included in any discussion or request. Doesn't mean that we can't, but we also are working with, we've had requests for additional, and we're gonna have to figure that out for future CIP, because as you can see, there is cost to doing these, and having been in another community with a lot of residential crossings, there was a period where I felt like every council meeting, there was a new request for one of these signs, and so that we may have to have some discussion about prioritization and criteria, because otherwise it gets to be not sustainable if we're putting these up on every crossing. And so I think we can have a discussion with staff and with Jason on where these make sense and the type of criteria that would create us to look at installing that type of signage.
Okay. We could, also loop it in maybe when we reconstruct Tower Drive too, at a later date.
Absolutely.
Is that, sorry, I just have it add on to that. Is that something that we can consider whenever we are doing reconstruction on roads and things, just to take a look at are there crosswalks in the area and include in that cost potentially?
It's a great point, and we'll definitely take that into consideration moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Alder Finkler?
We actually did talk about it during that time when we were talking about this, and I think it also came up again when we were talking about shortages of crosswalk folks, because that intersection on Tower Drive is considered a dangerous intersection, so kiddos over there have to be bussed in. And one of the things that I just remembered that was asked, that I don't know if we have an answer to or can get an answer to, is if putting a button there with a cross that does the bajillion flashing lights all over the place, then reduces the need for a crosswalk there, and also considering it a dangerous intersection. I'm not sure, but I know that was also part of the conversation.
What you're referencing is one of my favorite acronyms. It's a rapid rectangular flashing beacon.
Is that like a
And-
wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man?
Sure.
Those are actually called.
But since Mike's here, we can add that to Thursday morning's agenda for staff discussion on Tower Drive.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other questions, concerns? Are we comfortable moving this forward? Okay, thank you. Next item for discussion is discuss the WISDOT request of State Highway 73, Ludington Street.
So this is a fun one. Those that are on the council remember that my first council meeting back in December of last year, you authorized me to work with Terry Weil with Terra Venture Advisors on acquisition of right-of-way for the upcoming Highway 73 project. That's completed, and we've got that in place. The DOT is now requesting that there is a parcel the city owns, and that we need to waive ourselves paying ourselves for giving our right-of-way to the DOT. So there is a resolution that's on the council agenda for this item.
Question? All the way through all the materials that are in your packet today, it references temporary limited easement, and the resolution says permanent. Do we know which one it is for sure?
I do not know which one it is for sure.
Yeah.
But you are correct, the legal description says,
Yeah, everything says TLE until the resolution.
I'm gonna guess it's an error on the resolution, and the question is, can we amend the resolution to approve it as a temporary?
You certainly can, as long as we do it. That's why I'm bringing it up now.
Thank
So
you.
when we get to approval time, if we can figure out which it really is, then you're fine.
Alder Lawson?
There's a lot of maps attached here. The property that we're actually talking about, is that the corner of Washington Park, or is that elsewhere?
It is, That was my understanding. I'm just trying to match the map to that.
I mean, the one on page 26 looks like that, but then I wasn't sure why we had all the other ones.
And it is labeled as 10. It's what they sent me.
It's very confusing.
Well, several of the other ones are labeled as 10 too, that's
Yes.
why, yeah,
It's very confusing.
yeah,
Wow.
There's lots of blue and lots of yellow.
So there
yeah.
are three. It is for all three shown on the map that those are the city-owned or city-owned property that we'd be granting the temporary limited easement for construction.
Okay, so it looks like one of them is the brick walls that we have in front of the entryway to the park, Fireman's Park. Is that what I'm looking at correctly?
Yeah. Is that the page 26 one?
That's page 25,
25.
I think.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So if that's the case, if they need to do work there, what happens? I mean, they take down the wall, right? Do they put the wall back? Or is that our responsibility to take care of if that happens?
We'll let Jason take this one.
Well, I'm a little behind, so I'm kind of reliving this too. So Mike, you're doing a fantastic job of picking these out, because I was like, where is this? So the two ramps by the pavilion, they had to redo to make them ADA compliant, so they're not impacting the walls, and that's why they have to kind of go back and get this easement behind, because they got to remove what's there and kind of extend it. So as I recall, and this was quite some time ago, we had a conversation with the DOT, so the easement does not, the work does not impact the walls, it's just the ramps there to get them compliant and how they're doing it. So I believe that everything that's listed on here, then they have labeled as parcel 10, just refers to you guys as the owners. You're 10, so the city of Columbus was identified as 10. But you do have these multiple parcels that they're talking about. And based on the drawing, they're all labeled TLEs, so I would agree or concur with that. The resolution should be TLE.
And a TLE would not allow them to demolish anything within the easement. It's just, they need to access that
Access it.
area during construction activities.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Are we comfortable moving that one forward? Okay, thank you. Next item is 2024 Wine Walk Picnic License Application.
So this is a repeat from last year. I have given you the name of the businesses that are going to be involved with the wine stops. They do have a sufficient number of operators to legally distribute the wine, and they're very excited about the program. It's going to be from 12 to 6 on November 30th. And there were no problems with background checks or any of that with anybody that's involved with the program. Does anybody have any questions?
Alder Rosted?
So for the Class B, do they require, for the temporary, do they require the same checks as someone getting a Class B for a year?
So it's a separate application for a temporary picnic. They call it used to be the picnic license. And now DOR has named it the temporary alcohol beverage license for wine or for beer. There's two different ones. It's $10 a day, that's all we can charge. They're doing it in 9 locations, so that's why it was a $90 fee. But yes, they still go through all the background checks through the police department, and they still have to fill out all the information that you've got, so.
Isn't our policy a fire inspection as well for a Class B? 'Cause that's later on in the main agenda to approve hibachi is based
That's a
on a
good
fire.
question. Several of these are bars already, so they've had that.
Yeah, I'm not looking to hinder it.
No,
I'm
that's
just,
fine.
if there's a policy that we have, we should probably adhere to it. This year we can make an exception, but next year do we make another policy for a temporary license that they don't need to pass a fire inspection if it's a requirement?
That's something I might have to look into with the DOR and see if it's a requirement on their end. You know, if it's part of the state statutes already, so, but I can look into that. Scott, do you have any input on that? Okay.
Any other questions, concerns? Comfortable moving this one forward? Okay. Then I would take a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Welcome, everybody, to tonight's regular common council meeting of November 9th, 2024. And welcome to those that are watching on cable channel also. And could I have a roll call, please?
Finkler.
Here.
Hammer.
Here.
Lawson.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Relke.
Here.
Rostad.
Here.
Motive is excused.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I also acknowledge that this meeting was posted and noticed according to law.
Okay, thank you. And I would look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Alder Rolke will move to approve tonight's agenda.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rolke, second by Alder Finkler to approve tonight's agenda. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda approved. On to consent agenda, which includes the public hearing, the council meeting and committee of the whole meeting, minutes of October 29th of 2024. And
move
then
to-
also, sorry, and then also the approval of the 2024 Wine Walk picnic license application.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Reed
I'll second.
seconds.
Okay, motion by Alder Finkler and a second by Alder Reed. Any further discussion on consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda approved. Public comment? Nothing? Okay, thank you. Then on to new business, item number 3, which is the consider and take action on the resolution 11-24 regarding the special assessments, final assessments for the Commercial Drive Street and Utility Reconstruction Project. And then Jason is here if anybody has any questions regarding such.
I'll move to approve resolution 11-24 special assessments for 2024 street and utility improvements.
Alder Rolke will second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rolke, second, or by Alder Finkler, second by Alder Rolke. Any further discussion on this item? Do you have something? Alder
Yeah.
Rostad.
So page 15, on top it says 15, resolution 15-2 or 23.
That was the one that was approved back in November of 2023.
Okay.
So the resolution we would be approving is the new one, page 35, or, yeah, 34, 35, and 36.
Did, and just for a point of clarification, the motion that Molly made, was that specific to the final assessment for Commercial Drive? Specifically? Okay.
Sorry. Resolution 1124 is specific to Commercial Drive.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure, because we had already approved the residential special assessment by separate resolution. So that wasn't just the whole project we're approving tonight, it was just the commercial portion. Thank you.
Yes. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, on to item 4, which is to consider and take action on Resolution 12-24, a resolution to grant a temporary limited easement for Parcel 10 plat of right-of-way required for project ID 3060-00-24 Ludington Street, State Highway 73.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 12-24 with the change to temporary limited easement.
Alder Rolke will second.
Okay, motion by Alder Lawson, second by Alder Roki. Any further discussion? Alder Rosten.
Is that legit that we didn't amend the agenda before we moved forward?
Yeah, you have it on the agenda, and now you're amending it here, so I
Okay.
think you're fine.
Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving Resolution 12-24?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next on the agenda is to consider and take action on water quality trading agreement with Stibb Farms. This was last talked about at the September 3rd meeting. And if there's any questions regarding this, Alder Lawson, or, well, we should get a motion first, so.
Alder Rolke will move to approve the water quality trading agreement with Stibb Farms.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rolke, second by Alder Finkler. Now, any discussion? No, you're good. Any discussion further? Okay, hearing none, then I would look for a roll call, please.
Lawson,
Aye.
Rostand,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Finkler,
Aye.
Relke.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, then next on the agenda is to consider the Class B beer and Class B liquor licenses for Hachi Hachi Sushi and Hibachi alcohol license application.
I'll move to approve the Class B beer and Class B liquor license for Hachi Hachi Sushi and Hibachi alcohol license application.
Reed would like to second.
Okay, motion by Alder Finkler, second by Alder Reed. Any discussion on this? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 7. Discussion regarding change order number 2 with Forest Landscaping and Construction Incorporated related to the 2024 street and utility construction.
This says discussion, doesn't mean consider and take action.
Well, yeah, that should be consider and take action, sorry.
You're fine.
We're
You're go-
okay?
You're going to discuss, and then I assume you're going to make a motion.
Yeah,
So
Okay.
you're fine.
Okay. I'll move to approve change order number 2 with Forest Landscaping and Construction Incorporated related to 2024 street and utility construction.
I'll second.
okay, motion by Alder Finkler, second by Alder Lawson. Any further discussion on this item, as was discussed earlier? Hearing none, then could we have a roll call, please?
Finkler.
Aye.
Rosted,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Relke.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
All right, item number 8 is to consider and take action on the task order with Rupert Melke for 2025 street reconstruction for Brookside, it's actually Brookside Lane.
Alder Rolke will move to approve the task order with Rupert Milkie for 2025 street reconstruction for Brookside Lane.
Second.
Motion by Alder Rolke, second by Alder Finkler to approve the task order. Any further discussion on this item? Okay, seeing none, roll call, please.
Rosted,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Relke,
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, thank you. And then next on the agenda, number 9, is to consider and take action on award of service to the following vendors. S&S for electrical, Meitner's Land Service for hillside interment, Taz Heating and Cooling for HVAC, Wright Plumbing for plumbing, K&B Tree Service for forestry services, Lakeside Lawn Care for weed, grass, and shrubbery.
Are we missing the pavilion cleaning one?
That's going to be a separate item. It's on the back.
Sorry. Well, I'll move to approve awarding of service to the following vendor, or the vendors that were mentioned.
Alder Rolke will second.
Okay, motion by Alder Finkler, second by Alder Roki. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none. Does this have to be a roll call with, even though, I mean, it's just for a rate? Otherwise, we can do it just to be on the safe side.
Sure, just do it anyway.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Okay. Relke,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Finkler,
Aye.
Rosted,
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, then next would be item number 10 is to consider and take action on the award of service to Lakeside Lawn Care for Hillside Cemetery in the amount of $74,100.
Motion to approve Lakeside Lawn Care for Hillside Cemetery in the amount of $74,100 for 2025.
Alder Rolke will second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rosted, second by Alder Roki to approve. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, roll call.
Relke,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Finkler,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Rosted.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, thank you. Number 11 would be to consider and take action on award of service to Sassy Heifer for pavilion cleaning in the amount of $9,100 for the 2025 season.
Motion to award Sassy Heifer for the pavilion cleaning in the amount of $9,100 for 2025.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rosted, second by Alder Finkler. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Lawson,
Aye.
Relke,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Rosted,
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, then next would be to consider and take action on the claims in the amount of $438,552.19.
Joe, you missed number 12.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Item number 12, thank you. Consider and take action to award to Decker in the amount of $15,309 and Red Arrow Electric in the amount of $6,525 to replace 9 school pedestrian crossing lights.
Motion to approve the quote for Decker and Arrowhead Electric in the amount of $21,834 for a total.
Alder Rolke will second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rossed, second by Alder Roki. Any further discussion on this? Roll call.
Reed,
Aye.
Finkler. Aye. Relke,
Aye.
Rosted,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, now item number 13, to consider and take action on the claims in the amount of $438,552.19.
I'll make a motion to pay the claims in the amount of $438,552.19.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Lawson, second by Alder Finkler. Any discussion on this topic? Seeing none, roll call.
Rosted,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Relke,
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, report of city officers. Susan first.
Cheat sheet out. I just wanted to take a few moments to thank everybody. Take this opportunity to publicly thank all of the election inspectors that we have for their hard work and dedication during the November 5th general election and the weeks preceding it. I would also like to thank all of our city staff and departments who assisted throughout the process, including our police department, public works, administration and city hall staff, the community center, and the recreation staff, the mayor and council members, along with some other community members whose time, energy, and donation of tents made Election Day run smoothly and without incident. I would also like to thank our area businesses for their patience with all of the extra traffic that day. And finally, thank you to our voters for turning out. I am so grateful. We registered 266 new voters on Election Day itself, and many more during the in-person absentee voting period before that. We had a total of 1,751 absentee ballots requested, with only 6 not returned for various reasons. The total number of ballots cast on the 5th was 3,194, which gave us an 89.44% voter turnout. So if you're interested in getting more involved with the election process, please let me know. Thank you again. Appreciate it.
I'd be remiss not to jump into congratulating Susan on a successful election and all the staff. Having the opportunity to be in and out of the building during the day and then get to take part in the canvas effort at the end of the evening was a first-time experience for me, and just a job well done all around in the advanced planning, the work with Public Works to kind of add last-minute safety features into the schematic for the facility, and just throughout the day things ran smoothly. The line was lengthy, but it was efficient. I don't think waits got beyond 30 to 45 minutes, which, knowing some of the other communities in the area struggled with long lines and needed efficiencies to improve. I just think the overall, the amount of the voter turnout was just great, and all said a very smooth presidential election. So congratulations, Susan.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Okay. I would just like to piggyback on that also, to thank Susan and her poll workers for a successful election. Kane and I were outside, and a lot of positive comments. It was the interaction of the people out there. We were talking, is it possible to have a brat fry? Because people were asking, coffee or hot chocolate or brat fry or something like that. I don't know if that's feasible or not, but no, well, I didn't think so. But I mean, it was good to have the camaraderie among the voters that day. It was a great experience, and being outside that whole day. Weather was not terrible. Few times where it rained, but thanks for those with the tents, it was manageable. So yeah, thanks very much. And then I'd also like to wish all our city residents, as well as everybody here, a very happy Thanksgiving. So with that, a motion to adjourn, please.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Alder Finkler, second by Alder Rosted to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Does anybody object to rolling right through onto the next one? Okay. In that case, I would like to welcome you back to the Committee of the Whole for Tuesday, November 19th. It is 7:15 PM. And if I could have a roll call, please, Susan.
Finkler. Here. Hammer.
Here.
Lawson.
Here.
Motive is excused. Reed.
Here.
Relke.
Here.
Rostad.
Here.
I acknowledge this meeting was posted and noticed according to law.
Okay, thank you. So then the first item on the agenda is to approve the agenda. I would take a motion for saying, yep,
Motion to approve the agenda.
okay.
Second, with the removal of Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. Included in your packet tonight for file are department reports from fire, 9 of 24 and 10 of 24, library, 10 of 24, Lifestar from 8 of 24, 9 of 24, and 10 of 24, and police from 10 of 24. And then I do have one signed up for...
Madam President.
Yes.
I would like to make one change that was called into me just this afternoon. On the fire report for September, there was a typo, I believe it's the 6th line item, where the sentences we have they've gone from 140 calls in 2020 to possibly 280 calls in 2024, not 180 as cited.
Thank you for making that adjustment. I do have one person signed up for public comment, Kelly Crombie.
So, Columbus is a full-service community offering a wide range of services that a lot of other communities don't, from paramedic-level EMS service to 24/7 police coverage, which are, unique in small towns, and then combine that with the quality of life amenities, library, recreation, senior or community center, and, it's an expansive organization. I think the stormwater utility would be a good way to help sustain the services that we offer in the city and provide, that sustainable funding mechanism moving forward. I think the last time there was the referendum, there was a lot of confusion about the dam. The dam is not really a stormwater-related issue. There were concerns that the stormwater utility was somehow only designed to help people that were in the floodplain, and that's not true. That's not accurate. Stormwater is a problem that everyone across the city faces for regular storm events. Stormwater utility is not gonna solve flooding. It's not gonna prevent 2008 from happening again. So I think I just, urge the council to consider that as a sustainable way to possibly, maintain the services we offer in the city.
Thank you. First item for discussion is discussion and consideration of the 2025, Dodge County Humane Society contract. Matt?
So in your packet, you've got a copy of the letter received and the 2025 stray animal contract. Last year for this current year for '24, the rate was $1,500, so it has gone up $300, but I know that's not, we're not being singled out there. That's across the board with other communities. And then this year, it was $400 for each additional animal, and that has gone up to $450. This needs to get back to the Humane Society by January 1st, and normally, the City of Columbus does the lump sum payment of the lowest amount, $1,800, which covers up to 5 domestic stray animals, with the over that being $450. Although I don't know where we are for this year, but for the previous 2 years, we had 0 animals called into the Humane Society. So, which didn't, that part was covered and paid for there was no additional charges. So,
Anybody? Alder Reed?
Oh, yes, I would like to go with what we did before, which is the first one, the lump sum for 1,800 for up to 5 animals, and then going with the first check mark for the other one, that pre-approval is required.
yes. Yeah, we've had that in the past too.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Is everybody comfortable moving that forward that way then? Okay, thank you. Next item for discussion is discussion and consideration of permitting module by Civic Plus. Mike, I think that's you, right?
Yes, for a lot of 2024, we've had discussions on how we can better serve internal and external customers when it comes to permitting, that being building permits and zoning permits, and related permits. And so we've taken a look at some software, and Civic Plus, the company that also provides our website, has permitting software. And we've taken a look at that, and it's the most affordable way of all the options to get into a permitting software option. And what it would do for us is that there would be a front end of our permitting system to the public and contractors, so they could submit their applications and plans online and pay for them online. And then that system transfers over and allows for us to communicate and coordinate between the planner, the city engineer, utilities, and public works, fire chief as well. And there's notifications that work within that. And along with that, allows for property owners and contractors to log in and check the status of their permit. So it would actually make our customer service better. It would make our jobs easier and more efficient by coordinating and helping us to communicate better and be more consistent on things. So I think for the amount of investment, which there is a setup fee cost initially, but an annual cost, I think, of $5,300. So, and we would, the cost would be offset by an adjustment in our fee schedule.
Alder Finkler?
I just want to say this is awesome. And when I read it, I was like, woohoo, we're going to be online and it's 2024. So I am all for it. I just wanted to share my excitement.
Alder Lawson?
I too am excited. We're in the 20th century at least. There's a mention in your description that says the ability to pay online, but I wasn't sure that I saw that in their quote. Just want to make sure that that is accurate.
We actually have that now through PSM. We added that mid-year, and that's
Okay.
been working pretty well. So it's one of those things that.
So does that connect then to our existing?
Yeah,
payment?
and so we could use that. They also have their own. It probably, I don't know if it, maybe it doesn't show in that proposal, but when we went over the stuff, they have their own credit card payment system as well that we can utilize. So that'll be covered one way or another through their third-party credit card processor or the one we currently have.
Yeah, that's part of the problem is everyone has their own now, right? So
Well,
we don't want
it's
to
not
pay.
their own, it's the one they work with. It's
Yeah,
the
right,
third party.
right. But we don't want to,
If I could interject, the one that they work with is part of the one we have now with PSN. It's their like sister companion that they merged with a year and a half ago. So we'd only have, if that's the route we go, is what, if this is what we're talking about, then all we'd have to do are open accounts, we can switch them over.
okay, awesome.
I believe it's the same company that owns them both now.
And then the other question I had was a lot of this stuff says pre-configured. So is there any customization
Yes.
that we get?
Essentially, a lot of these permits are similar across communities, so they have those kind of preset that that are available that speed up the permitting process. I asked that exact question in one of our online demo sessions. I asked that exact same question, so it allows us to customize things and add more permits as things progress.
Anybody else have any other questions, concerns? Comfortable moving it forward? Okay. Next item, discussion and consideration of proposal from CO.W for cloud-based upgrade to financial software.
As we've previously discussed, there's been interest and desire in we currently pay for two CO.W. CO.W is our financial software. We pay for two licenses, one for the city, one for the utility. In the only way that we can combine into one financial system is to migrate to this cloud base where then they can integrate. The advantage is that once we've done that, we'll actually see a decrease in our cost for CO.W from what we currently pay for two separate entities. Going to one and cloud-based would be cheaper. It'll also allow, currently, the only access we have to the system, if Crystal wants to access utility financials, she needs to go to the utility to do that. Same as if Jacob needed to get into city financials to see back history on wastewater or anything like that, he's got to come here to access this. This would allow both entities to have access to the accounts that they need to have access to. Crystal has had communication with CO.W on this and can also chime in or answer any questions that council has.
Alder Reed?
Oh, thank you. I was wondering if the $5,502 to go over to the cloud-based system is a one-time cost. If not, there wouldn't really be any savings in combining them. It would be a couple hundred.
Right. It's a small savings, but it would be a savings. It'll be an annual cost for the cloud base. We currently pay the $9,205. The utility pays $6,052. We would be paying, which is just above $15,000. Moving forward, it'd be a cost of $14,725. Although a small savings, it is a slight savings moving forward. And from my perspective, it's a better product.
Thank you. That was just my question. Do we prefer the new service just because it would not be a big savings?
I think that the service allows us to look at efficiencies in payroll, billing, a lot of different aspects that we have currently a staff at the utility doing the same thing that we have staff at the city doing. By having one financial system, we could have one person doing payroll. We could have one person doing billing as opposed to both entities currently doing that.
Thank you.
Alder Finkler?
I'm super excited for this efficiency, and I mean, I think it's just a bonus that saves us a couple $100, but I think being on both the utility commission and also city council, there has been some headache because of this being separated. So I think it's really exciting to get everybody on the same page, if you will.
Alder Lawson?
The proposal that you have here also mentions that you propose to split the cost between the two entities going forward. So we are one city. Does it make sense just to move that budget to one line item and pay out of there?
These are the details that I think the COW council, and this will have to go to the utility commission too in the future for discussion. I think those are the things that we work out in this process, right, of what does make the most sense. Obviously, the utility will be utilizing the service. They currently use it, so that, as we look at, is there a difference between our ratepayers and our taxpayers? And that's a lot of them are the same. There are some difference, and it becomes a question of accounting, and should a portion of this be charged to the utilities overall budget and a portion, and what allocation in terms of percentage, I think are things that Crystal works really hard at the allocations and looking at that, and this is one of those things that could be factored into that overall allocation of what percentage should be the city and what percentage should be utility.
Any other questions? Mayor Hammer?
I have, the efficiency part of it and the cloud-based part of it is good. I mean, a big thing is that, employees through this process are made aware that they still have a job.
Understood.
And that's where we need to be very, very transparent about, so.
Sure.
Any other questions? Are we comfortable moving this one forward? Okay, thank you. Next item is discussion and consideration regarding posting city buildings prohibiting firearms.
So I'll start, and Paul may have some historical information that he feels is important to share. So state law went into effect, I believe, in 2012 with the concealed carry, and that buildings owned by the state and allowed the city to have that same. When this enacted, initially the city adopted the state law, if I recount this correctly, and then had subsequent discussions kind of backing off of that and not posting the buildings as prohibited from firearms, which is unique in most city buildings that I've been in the past. They prohibit this, and it's been a question that staff has asked. I've kind of asked myself of what is the history on this and why are our buildings not posted, and kind of thought following the election and this being a topic amongst us at different times that bring this to the committee of the whole for discussion and direction.
Aldereen?
Oh, thank you. I just had a real quick question under the city ordinance drafted after updated and state law reads. I'll just read the first sentence. No person shall carry a concealed or unconcealed firearm into any building owned, occupied, or controlled by the city where the city has notified the person in writing. Should that be in writing or signage? I was just wondering about the language.
In writing is the signage.
I was just wondering if it might just be just a visual circle with a cross.
I think that's what
X out.
I think that would be the staff's suggestion, but what it currently states is that we allow someone with a firearm to enter our buildings unless the city has sent them notification stating that they cannot do so.
Yeah, and you are right on track, Trina, because that's exactly where this conversation leads. So the concealed carry came around, and I think it was 2012, and the city council at that time spent a lot of time putting this together, and the entire state was in the same boat because it was a brand-new law that had a lot of different impacts and applications to it. At the end of the day, I mean, concealed carry is concealed carry, and in order to prohibit concealed carry in a particular building, especially a public building, the municipality has to give notice, as you read, and that notice is most usually done by signage. And it is signage posted in several places, several conspicuous places, normally entrances to the buildings, that says, concealed or use of firearms or carrying of firearms in this building is illegal, period, end of conversation. So the reason that there's signage is that the enforcement mechanism for this is a trespass violation, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but that's what the legislature came up with. And in order to enforce a trespass violation, the person who's trespassing has to know that they're improperly. So that's kind of the background on this. And in 2012, when the city council was discussing this, the entire conversation, to the best of my recollection anyway, went pretty much full circle. They started out by being very much in favor of posting the buildings, and by the time it came up for a vote, they decided it was a bad idea to post the buildings. And at that time, it came down to, well, there was no law case law at the time interpreting any of this, and now there's very little law interpreting this, which I guess is good. But they were questioning about if somebody couldn't defend themselves in a public building because they couldn't bring their firearm in, if that was a bigger liability risk than if you were prohibiting the use of firearms in the building in the first place. There's no answer to that question yet that I'm aware of, but that is kind of where the council back in 2012 was. So here we are today, raising the issue again.
Alder Lawson?
To add to that, that last sentence that refers to 943.132, that actually tells you what constitutes writing means, and it tells you about even the signs have to be a certain size for it to qualify. So there's very specifics on what makes it legally notification. In general, I'd say I'm for posting the signs. I'm curious, when we're renting out the pavilion for a gun show, how does that work?
It's a great recollection of the last meeting 3 weeks ago. So, I'll defer to the city attorney on how we deal with that procedurally, but,
Best option is if you decide to go forward with this, make sure that it takes effect after the gun show has happened. But seriously, this is one of those things where I believe if you are going to, depending on which path you choose to follow here, if you post the buildings and then grant a waiver for one day or a few hours for some kind of organized event, that would be the way to handle it. But that is something that you would want to bring back to this body to make that decision.
Alder Finkler?
I'm kind of wondering why this came up and where there was malicious intent with a concealed carry that brings this up, because typically the purpose of a concealed carry is for somebody to carry to defend themselves. And if somebody is going to be a malicious actor, they're going to do it whether or not you post a sign on the door. So I'm wondering why we would take the risk of adding more overhead potential, needing waivers or any of that for something that isn't currently a problem.
I think that the lead up to the election and some of the notices the city was receiving, everyone had a heightened sense of concern, safety, security measures, those sort of things. And I'm in and out of a lot of city buildings in other communities. And it struck me as, wow, we don't have our that's just a staple. I can't think of a city building I've been in outside of the city of Columbus that doesn't have that posting.
I'm pretty sure I worked. Lawson, you might remember, I don't know if you were there, but when I worked at the Department of Health Services that is downtown in Madison, that didn't even have it posted. I get it's a state building and not a city building, but and we did not have any problems while working there. We had one guy with a long umbrella that somebody thought was a rifle, and that was an entertaining day nonetheless. But I'm just really concerned with us making a deal out of something that isn't a deal right now.
Alder Rosted?
I guess, I don't know if as Chief Weiner or the attorney. So in the agenda or on the item under the state statute 941 dash, or .235. Then section 2, it says, parent E, a licensee is defined as 175.60, parent 1, parent D. A licensee means an individual holding a valid license to carry a concealed weapon issued under this section. So by posting it, they're still allowed to come in under this section if they have a valid license, correct?
I think that's state law, but our ordinance that's drafted here says even with a license to conceal, you wouldn't be able to bring it in.
So we're making it stricter than the state, right? Correct? That's what I'm getting at. And then we never did get an answer on the pavilion and Doylestown fundraiser. How, though, yeah,
Right now. Right now, it's not an issue.
correct, but they're not having it till 2025. And I'm assuming this is gonna happen sooner than 2025.
Didn't see my previous comment.
Yep. Are you done?
Yeah. yeah.
Okay, if I may interject, it also says a firearm means a weapon that acts by force of gunpowder. Well, there's going to be no ammunition at this, so you're taking the gunpowder part of it away, so.
Not really, because it still works by
Still,
gunpowder.
it still works by force of.
Well, it still works by it,
gunpowder.
but
The
the-
fact that there isn't any gunpowder there isn't the definitional issue at that point.
I mean, I think it's a good idea. I'm an avid gun owner myself. I will piggyback on Molly. A sign is not going to stop somebody. If it gives the comfort to our residents and our staff, I'm all for it. But just understand it's not a deterrent.
Alder Reed?
Oh, thank you. I'm definitely for it. I'm comfortable giving a waiver for the events that will be grandfathered in, so to speak. I think this will, even help with a bit of staff comfort and possible staff retention. It's really unusual not to have the signs up. I know it's not a big help, but maybe to lessen a little bit of crimes of passion chances, I would be in favor.
Mayor Hammer, did you have,
Oh, no, sorry.
are there any other questions or concerns?
I guess
Alder
so.
Rosted?
Who would be responsible for paying for all the signage? Would it be would the city cut the big lump sum, or would each department have to take on the burden?
My experience is that these are stickers that are made to the size, they're adhesive window clings or stickers that go on the windows to doors that are at the size of the ordinance, and they're readily available on multiple sites, and I don't feel that this is a significant cost, and something that the city can do and cover.
Alder Lawson?
I'm just curious if the chief has any comments?
There's two sides to it. I mean, it's really a lot of different perspectives on it. I'm okay with the posting. I mean, our building is obviously one of my statute that's off limits because it's a police department. Jails are also off limits automatically for anything, any kind of firearms. But I agree with Matt. I've been to a lot of municipalities for the last several years, and I've seen all this.
Any other questions? Is everybody comfortable moving this forward for a vote? Yes? Okay, thank you.
Well, I think the only thing is that we know that, if we're going to be granting waivers, as it comes forward, we need to have that worked out, that that's going to be something that would be included, so.
Next item is discussion of potential 2025 stormwater referendum question for the spring election ballot.
Was there supposed to be something in the packet for this?
No.
Okay.
This is clearly a discussion. I don't know what we would put in the packet.
Last time's referendum?
Fair.
Because that's gonna be my question.
So the reason we put this on is January 21st is the deadline to inform the county of a potential referendum. So if this is something, and it's been discussed, kind of loosely, there's been some public information meetings. If this is something that the council and obviously the committee of the whole are interested in moving forward on, we need to put the foot down and get staff working in this direction. Because we'll need to bring language back. The last time the question was asked, the recommended language for a proposed question, and then we need to, hold some additional public information meetings and explain the reasons for why the city is looking at a referendum.
We had, I forget how many different meetings, public information meetings. Jason, was it 3 or 4? Okay. And residents that attended, I would say probably only one that was against going to referendum. But if you recall, how many cities in the state have gone to a stormwater utility?
Well, it certainly has grown since the last time we were out to the referendum. And so, I think there was 80 some, I think it's 110 or something now. I mean, people continue to pass and to implement the utility. And so, obviously, there's considerable new data out there. There's other information that's occurring. So, at this point, it is something that I think we have more information or new information to present.
I know, the timing.
Says zone 15 council chambers.
That was probably this thing I was playing with right here.
That's you.
Did you just get the panic alarm?
Sure.
Oh,
Says C
goodness.
number 3.
You win.
What do I get?
In trouble. Slap on the wrist.
Ticket?
Yeah.
Oh, we know they work at least. So
Yeah, that's good. Where is this button, Mike?
It's right here. It says seat 3. Push it.
I did not know that the
like two of them.
Thank you for informing me. I knew they were on staff's desk, but I didn't know they were in the council.
That's what you get
I
for
didn't know
being
we had them
fidgety.
either.
Yeah, I did that,
For the next.
What's this do? Oh,
Now we know.
did that at a tourism meeting a couple of months ago, so.
That's funny.
Okay.
Those are safety gestures.
now my face is beat red.
A regular schedule.
So anyways, having the public information meetings on this, and again, the big purpose of the stormwater utility is, a lot of it is just the maintenance work that needs to be done, as was our stormwater study that was done and identified, 94 items in there, and with, initially 19 that were prioritized. But there are things that, at that time, 15 million, 16 million to do all 94, and I'm sure now we're up, in excess of that, obviously. It's a means for us to obtain getting this work done. And as was mentioned by a public comment, is able to continue to maintain the other city services, so.
I'm sorry, in all of that, I'm not sure who had their light on first, but Alder Reed.
Thanks, Ralston. All right. So I'm definitely for starting the process of working the language as soon as possible. Would love to get the last referendum's language plus some suggested changes, alternatives, for us to get something going in the process. I think it's pretty important.
Alder Lawson?
So as the mayor said, there was one real outspoken opponent in those public sessions, and his concern had more to do with how the stormwater utility is funded than actually having one exist and provided as a service. So if we can have that individual included maybe somehow in the development of our referendum question, we might be able to address most of the concerns that we're going to come across.
Alder Lawson?
Do we know if the school district is looking at a referendum possibly in April?
We do not. I do have a meeting scheduled with the superintendent to just touch base. That's one of the things on my list to
Okay.
talk about. To share with him that, we're potentially moving forward with this and see where they're at with
Okay.
their situation.
Alder Finkler?
Is the intention of tonight to just see whether or not we would entertain it? And then, would the next step be that it would come to another cow? Or would there be a subgroup or a subcommittee of people that would be evaluating the questions and bringing those options to us? I guess I just want to know for preparing for future meetings.
My intent would be that we bring back the question that was asked the last time along with a staff recommendation on what the language would be to the next cow for discussion, input, and, further evaluation. I just want to highlight, to follow up on Mr. Lawson's comments, that individual brought up the idea of, if you need more money, maybe you should consider an operational referendum. And although we'd have that capability, I think the strength of the stormwater utility is once it's dedicated funding for stormwater, it has to be used for stormwater. And if you go to an operational referendum, a future council could decide, we're going to reallocate this to roads. So it creates that dedicated funding, and it shows the commitment of the community that we want to address our stormwater concerns, which we all know are significant. There's a long list of projects that the stormwater utility isn't going to magically address all of those projects, but there's, correct me, Jason, 19 priority projects that the stormwater utility would, make great efforts to reduce those 19 over a 5 to 10 year period of time where we can have some tangible success in, and those 19 priority projects are where you can make your greatest impacts.
Does anybody else have any questions right now?
Me?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you asked yours.
No, it's all good. Another thing that was brought up in some of those town halls or whatever we're going to call them, workshops or whatever, was the ability for the city to just continually raise the fee over and over and over again. And it just getting just unbearable for citizens to continue to pay. So is there, and I don't know if there is a way, but is there a way to have that defined and education to the citizens on that, like in parallel with this? They kind of have an idea where we're going with it?
My understanding is, and Paul may have additional thoughts, is that you can word it within parameters, that you can put some limitations on it. Just because previous community, that was the case. There were some very stringent limitations on it. I think one of the things that we'll want to look at is how can you limit that while also realizing that 20 years from now, the cost of what a stormwater improvement project is going to change, and find some way for that to adjust without having to go back to the electorate. The school districts get a lot of criticism for the operational referendums, that if they're not continuous, that every couple of years they're coming back, and you want to do something that is going to achieve the goals of the intent.
Any other questions?
Right. And I just want to put it into perspective, and I know that was something that was talked about, but, I mean, we had talked about, I think at one point, putting a limit on it last time in the ordinance, and we had wrote in kind of a 5-year freeze from the initial installation. But again, I think what you've seen out there in some instances is, for example, even if you take a modest 3% increase on a $5 per month cost, it's 15 cents a month. So I know the fear is here of what it could be, but in proportionate reality, even a dramatic increase, 10% is 50 cents a month. So again, I think the concept of the fear is there, but in perspective to what the fee was anticipated to be, even in those percentages, it's a negligible amount in the end. So again, I just want to put that in perspective because it is a fear, but I think in reality, people think about, 15 cents a month is probably not a big thing for anybody, so.
Paul?
Do you want to hear the actual language for the last question as your parting comment for the evening on this topic? So it was a little more historical background. The city council did adopt a stormwater utility ordinance. So there is one of those in place already that kind of outlines how some of this works. And as a result of the public impact meetings, public information meetings, let's try that, different PIM. The ordinance was amended several times before this referendum even came around in an effort to soothe some of the concerns that came up. The 5-year that Jason was just talking about was one of the issues, and there were a couple others that I can't recall right now. But the ordinance is in place. It's not doing anything right now. It's just kind of sitting there. But the text that you had last time, and it was one sentence, and it says, "Shall the city of Columbus stormwater utility be permitted to charge its customers for maintenance and operation of stormwater management facilities and infrastructure without reducing the levy limit for fees collected?" So that was it. That was the sentence last time. A little wordy, but is about as straight and to the point as we could make it. There is a really nice article that somebody wrote. The city of Columbus urges residents to pass the April 5th stormwater fee referendum. It's on your newsflash page. That's where I found this. March 28 of 2022.
Can we legally post that letter?
Post that letter?
Yeah.
It was.
Are we advocating for something as opposed to sharing information?
Somebody is certainly advocating at this time. And again, there's a fine line between advocating and sharing information, and there's an awful lot of information in this letter. The headline is a little questionable, maybe. But the article itself is yeah, well, we'll see what happens this time around.
Matt, do you have the direction that you and staff need on this? Okay. Does anybody else have any further questions? All right. Then I guess all that's left is to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
I learned